were all kind of assigned an interview, and I was interested in you because I'm an accounting and finance major, and I'm very much into investing. So I thought you would be a cool person to talk to, looking at your resume. And also, I'm in eScholars too, and I've seen some of the stuff you did or have on your resume, and it just like working with Best Buy. So I just thought you'd be a cool person to interview. So
okay, yeah.
I guess my first question would be, what kind of got you started in the finance investing track? Like, when did you know that's the field? Because obviously you went to a really great university. So when did you kind of decide?
Sure. So I got the interest in finance because my dad works in the industry.
Okay.
Yeah, he is managing or is helping to run investment firm in China that's similar to Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs, but
Okay,
more
cool.
a local firm. So, he brought me lots of newspaper to read, and that's how I became interested. And after taking a few classes in school, and I like that involves numbers in terms of you are running the models, financial models, but you're also learning the qualitative side of information, such as doing the research, trying to figure out, for example, if you're looking at a stock, then we have to figure out what the competitors are, whether they're in corporate, whether they're public traded firm or private traded firm. And you have to read lots of information and then digest that information, put that into numbers. So that's what really intrigues me about this field.
Cool, yeah. Well, I can definitely relate to that, and yeah, that's really cool. And I know this is kind of like a cliche question, but this is just kind of my own interest. Can you just kind of tell me what it's like day to day? Like, I know what you do on a daily basis. I know I saw you manage 401ks and stuff like that. So kind of what you do exactly with Ecolab.
Sure, so I'm with their finance development or leadership program. It's a 2-year rotation. I have one position with one particular area and then rotate to another area. And after finishing the program, I sort of have a permanent position that after that I'm more on my own. I have to go out networking and get my own promotion versus in the program they're sort of helping you and guide you along the way. And for my job, it's a very new area because in college I never learned about health savings account or 401k. So I'm pretty much start fresh, just like anybody. And I rely a lot on actually Googling for information, trying to figure out what each term means, and sort of have this HR benefits one-on-one. And for 401k, it's a pretty long process that we use Fidelity as a platform or as our vendor. So
Fidelity, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are feeding our payroll information into the system, and then they go through several checks and then ask us for funding. So it's more daily funding or funding based on employees' payroll that I handle, and also I'm in charge of making sure our participants are happy. So if they ever have any questions about their 401k account, I'm their go-to person, and also manage those vendor relationships that I have bi-weekly call with the Fidelity team to make sure that we are working towards the same goal.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And I'll actually ask. I'll stick to the script. So kind of looking at your resume, it looks like, so your Best Buy thing, or venture, or capital. Looking at it, you kind of analyze startups, right? And whether you should invest in them or not. Can you just touch a little more about that, or on that? I just found that really interesting. Just kind of that process and maybe some of the types of ventures you analyze.
Sure. So my research focused more in mobile app. I remember doing mobile app, big data, the e-commerce platform, and actually robots, like a robotic firm now. but it's more trying to be on the commercial side, not instead of the industrial side.
Okay.
And what I do is lots of industry siding. So going back to what I mentioned before about qualitative and quantitative. So for venture capital, I think a lot of it is more qualitative. So you are looking at their competitor, you are looking at the size of industry. At the same time, you are also relying on the team. The entrepreneurs and the people running the firm are crucial. So I didn't handle this process, but quite a few team members of mine worked on doing channel checks to make sure, talking to other people in the same industry to make sure these entrepreneurs have a good reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they mention that they used to work on this and that project, or they used to work in that one particular firm, they will do a lot of channel check or making sure they are a reliable person.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I thought that was just a really cool, neat thing on your resume, just because like the whole eScholar program is all about entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of just thinking about this conference today, and obviously you can relate to this. Can you just explain how important globalization is today in the business world? I know it just becomes more and more global, just every business. So if you could just kind of touch on that, like just the importance of, because business now isn't just in the U.S. It's global. So like in your experience, just how crucial that is, and kind of being able to kind of work with other countries, or I guess if my question makes sense.
Yes.
Or just like your own experience, I guess.
My own experience with globalization.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think my study abroad experience could sort of speak to globalization, that I grew up in China up until high school and came here for college.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my words of advice to all the people that I met is really seek out to get out of your comfort zone and try something new. So for my peers that are studying in China, I encourage them to come to experience U.S. culture,
Mm-hmm.
and for my American friends here, I really encourage them to go study abroad in China and stay there, or any country and stay there for a longer period, because I think if you just go for a shorter term, it's hard to really understand the local culture.
Yeah, it's not the real thing.
Yeah, so at least a semester long experience will be ideal versus just going there for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was getting at, just kind of, I mean, you have a huge advantage now over others who haven't done what you did.
Mm-hmm. And I remember at the Ecolab interview, they asked me, so what makes you interested in Ecolab and why do you think you're a good candidate? And I mentioned that Ecolab is a global company. It's all the business is in different parts of the world, I could leverage my Chinese background for, put them into use eventually. So I'm definitely interested in going back to work in the Shanghai office for Ecolab.
That's really cool. And that's exactly it. I mean, now a company like Ecolab, it's all over the world, and most companies in the future, that's how almost all corporations will be. So.
Yeah, and I'm just the ideas just kept coming to me now, and I think different cultures have there are so many different things you can learn from different culture.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I think in Asian culture we are very, how can I say it? I hope this doesn't go on the record. But when I have this cross-culture conversation with my friends, they're just very surprised about the perspective I brought in. I think a lot of business articles talk about how being a different culture will boost the creativity and give you more ideas, and I definitely find that true.
Yeah.
When I was doing school project.
Okay, yeah, that's good. And so that pretty much covers everything. Thank you. And that was good for me too, because what you're doing is really of interest to me. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, not a problem. Can I ask what this is for?
Frank.
Okay.